Welcome to Cosmic Scene with Jill Jardine. I'm your host, Jill Jardine, longtime astrologer, psychic, healer, and yogi. In today's episode, I'm going to talk about raising our vibration in the Aquarian Age through Kundalini Yoga. Hello, listeners. Today, I'm going to introduce you to an awesome form of raising your awareness and elevating your consciousness through Kundalini Yoga. I'm going to discuss the Aquarian Age and why Kundalini Yoga is a perfect practice for these times. At the end of the episode, I'm going to share some Kundalini Yoga mantras that will raise your vibration and bring in the feel-good vibes. If you haven't listened to my previous podcast called Kundalini Baby and my podcast called Chakras with my colleague, guest, Sarah Adams, go back and listen to those podcasts. So I feel like I can talk about Kundalini Yoga because I have been a yogi since 1988, and I'm now a certified Kundalini Yoga teacher for the past few years. I am a convert to Kundalini Yoga after practicing many other forms of yoga, including Hatha Yoga, Ashtanga, Yin Yoga, Meridian Yoga, Vinyasa, restorative, prenatal yoga when I was pregnant, power yoga, hot yoga, Kriya Yoga as the active forms, and then other more esoteric forms that people may not know about. I'm also an instructor and have practiced mantra yoga. I have studied with many gurus from India and therefore have practiced guru yoga, bhakti yoga, which is a devotional form of singing in Sanskrit. I have practiced that over the years, as well as Tantra yoga, Yantra yoga, Shakti yoga, Laya yoga, Japa yoga, and karma yoga. So some of you may not know what these forms are. As I said, bhakti is devotional. Tantra is a form of unification within self from various practices. Shakti yoga raises your vibration or Shakti. Yantra yoga is a form of meditation on certain sacred geometrical patterns for either the planets or for the deities or the goddesses, such as Lakshmi has the Sri Yantra, very sacred symbolism. That is Yantra yoga. And Japa yoga is the repetition of mantra in a concentrated form. Laya yoga is running your energy in certain fashions. And then karma yoga, many of us do karma yoga and don't even realize it, which is performing selfless acts of service, such as feeding people at a soup kitchen or helping elderly and less fortunate people. And then there's also the yoga of donating, which is a form of karma yoga. But Kundalini Yoga, which I'm going to discuss today, is unlike any other forms of yoga. It is called the Yoga of Awareness and was brought to the United States in 1969 by Yogi Bhajan. The origin of Kundalini Yoga is unknown, but historical records dating back to 1000 BC in the sacred Vedic collection of writings called the Upanishads describe the science of Kundalini Yoga energy. Yogi Bhajan, who brought this form of yoga to the U.S., received the transmission of the sacred Kundalini Yoga practices as a boy and had mastered them by the age of 16. He left India and came to the United States, where Kundalini Yoga flourished in the late 1960s and early 1970s and helped many hippies and drug addicts clean up their lives and purify their bodies with the Kundalini Yoga practices. In this country, the group of Kundalini Yoga practitioners and teachers formed with Yogi Bhajan back in the late 60s and 70s formed 3HO organization, which stands for the Healthy, Happy, Holy organization, and they exist to this day. You can find out more about Kundalini Yoga by going on their website, www.3 3ho.com. And if this is something that interests you after listening to this podcast, you can check out if there is a Kundalini Yoga teacher in your area by going onto the website for the International Kundalini Yoga Teachers Association, which is www.ikyta.com. And in this day and age, there are so many ways to access the teachings and practices of Kundalini Yoga on YouTube and various websites for different Kundalini Yoga sessions and practices. So check that out. You can find them on YouTube. There's a great teacher I like to follow. Her name is Guru Jagat, who has her own channel called Rama TV, Rama. So check it out after you hear about it, maybe for the first time in this podcast. The reason why I like Kundalini Yoga is that it combines many yogic and energetic practices in one sessions. Some of the things that are included in Kundalini Yoga is chanting of specific Kundalini Yoga mantras, which are actually different than the Sanskrit mantras, of which I am an instructor. And this is also connected to Bhakti Yoga. The other practice we do in Kundalini Yoga classes are breath work, also known as pranayama in Sanskrit. We do postures, asanas in Sanskrit, and something called kriyas, which are sets of movements of exercises for a specific result. For instance, there are many practices for helping balance the glandular system and the digestive system. And then Kundalini Yoga also incorporates mudras, which are hand postures, and different meditations. There are so many there's thousands of Kundalini sets or kriyas that Yogi Bhajan brought through and are chronicled in various books on Kundalini Yoga. And there are many, many meditations in the Kundalini Yoga tradition as well. I want to thank my own Kundalini Yoga teacher who turned me on to it, Jyotish Kaur, Susan Brown. In fact, I just came from a class this morning. I also want to thank the owner of our yoga center, Balance Yoga in Massachusetts, Kelly Lynch, who made sure that the yoga studio reopened here in Massachusetts and very hygienic and following all the social distancing protocols and all the other health protocols. It was a lovely experience to go back into my Kundalini Yoga class after 4 months hiatus from the yoga studio. It is such a gift. And sometimes when we are away from our practices with our groups, we miss it very much. So I'm very happy to be back with my fellow teachers and practitioners of Kundalini Yoga. I want to tell you a little bit about what the founder here in this country of Kundalini Yoga, Yogi Bhajan, says about it. Quote, Kundalini Yoga is not a religion. Religions come out of it. Kundalini Yoga is not a fad and it's not a cult. It is a practice of experience of a person's own excellence, which is dormant and which is awakened. End of quote. The reason I want to talk about Kundalini Yoga today is because it is made for these times of change and fluctuation. Coming out of the coronavirus quarantine, my yogi friends and I did very well in the isolation because it gave us more time to do our own spiritual practices. I sometimes spent hours a day chanting mantras, performing Sanskrit spiritual ceremonies called pujas, and doing Kundalini Yoga kriyas and chants during the quarantine. So I was quite happy. And why is Kundalini Yoga so suited to our times in the 21st century? Although it combines ancient yogic practices, Yogi Bhajan says Kundalini Yoga is the yoga of the Aquarian Age and is necessary for these turbulent times. According to Yogi Bhajan, the Aquarian Age officially began in 1992. As astrologers, we see the Aquarian Age as a series of progressing astrological alignments that began with the outer planet conjunctions of Uranus and Pluto in Virgo in 1966 and through the late 1960s. So I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the Aquarian Age. So we have that first activation in the late 60s astrologically. And isn't that interesting? That's when Yogi Bhajan shows up on our shores with this fabulous new yogic practice, new old, based in ancient practices, called Kundalini Yoga, right with the divine timing of the Uranus and Pluto conjunction in Virgo in the late 60s. And this energy gets reactivated again with the Harmonic Convergence of 1987, which ushered in the Saturn-Uranus-Neptune stellium of 1988 through 1991. A lot of great souls born. This generation is waking up big time now. Then in 1992 to 1993, the official start of the Aquarian Age, according to Yogi Bhajan, we had something called the Uranus-Neptune conjunction in Capricorn. And so again, this group is getting very awakened. They resonate with spiritual practices very naturally. And they're all in their late 20s and early 30s. So what do we have going on now? We have another big outer planet conjunction in Capricorn. Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto have been conjunct in Capricorn since February of 2020 and dance together throughout the rest of the year. It brought us in the massive changes of structures. It brought in the pandemic. And there's still more things to come, which we'll talk about here in Cosmic Scene with Jill Jardine in later podcasts. So in 1992, we had the official start of the Aquarian Age, according to Yogi Bhajan, and now 28 years later, we're at the Saturn Return of 1992. So we are a Saturn cycle into the Aquarian Age. We need all the help we can get. So what was going on before we got into the Aquarian Age? We left the Piscean Age that went on from approximately 0 AD through 1992, 2000, approximately 2,000 years. And the Piscean Age was marked by the priests, the ministers, the popes, the Brahmins, the religious leaders holding all the power, and one had to access the spirituality or religion through them, and any esoteric knowledge was taboo for the average person. It was very hard to gain access to information, spiritual or otherwise, in the Piscean Age, from 0 to 2000 AD approximately. And the masses were controlled by the few, whether they were political or spiritual leaders, and usually the political leaders and kings had to be granted power by the popes or the spiritual leaders. Thank goodness we're in the Aquarian Age, because now in the Aquarian Age, anybody can become enlightened. And you don't need a spiritual teacher or pope to actually give you the credibility of enlightenment. We take the teachings from all these ancient times, all the spiritual esoteric teachings, and use them in the Aquarian Age to wake up our consciousness. And this is what this podcast is all about, sharing with you listeners all the various roads to enlightenment. And we're having an awakening with that, thanks to the outer planet conjunctions. So the Aquarian Age ushers in a time when the awareness, information, and energy is most important. We can all access information now, thanks to the internet. It is at the tip of our fingers. There are no secrets in the Aquarian Age. But the question remains, with all this information, it's not enough. Neither is knowledge. What we need is true wisdom. And this is what you can receive from true gurus or teachers outside in the world that you trust and you align with, and also with your inner guru. And Kundalini Yoga shows you how to connect with your inner teacher or inner guru. I'm going to be sharing a mantra later to show you how to do that, because true wisdom is harder to find than most realize. I always say that the internet can provide information, but what information is actually useful to you on your path to realization? The internet doesn't necessarily provide wisdom. We must cultivate that from within and from those trusted gurus and teachers. I also think that there are too many people, what I call fake gurus, promoting and toting themselves as spiritual teachers, coaches, shamans, mediums, psychics, soul coaches, etc., out there in the internet world who actually lack the wisdom and experience to help other people on their path and can actually do some damage. So be discriminating and be selective. In the Aquarian Age, we are not separate. We are practicing unity consciousness, and a lot of people haven't gotten that memo yet. So, what does that mean? It means that every action needs to be considered of its ramifications, whether it's ecologically or globally, because we all affect the planet and each other with our energy. Yogi Bhajan, when he was predicting the Aquarian age and some things that may be different in the coming age, which we're in now in the 21st century, one of the things was about the illnesses of the Aquarian age will be more mental and emotional in nature. Depression and fatigue related psychological illnesses are increasing at accelerating rates and higher than ever before now. The fatigue and immune compromised symptoms of people in the population is also what fed the spread of a pandemic ignited by a virus. Yogi Bhajan predicted that previously unknown challenges like viral epidemics, psychological, and spiritual ailments will beset us during this time. So the key is to build people's immune systems right now in this time and your inner energy and outer energy. Kundalini Yoga is a technology for enhancing our inner energies. One of the things that's different about Kundalini Yoga, why it's special, is the fact that it focuses on the precept that we have 10 bodies, not just one physical body. So, what are these 10 bodies? Well, the first one is the physical body, which is our temple for the soul and spirit. But we all know what our physical body is. If our physical body is weak, our inner and outer realities will tend to be out of balance. A strong physical body is necessary to carry out our roles, missions, and dharma or purpose in this lifetime. So we need to keep our physical body healthy. So the other bodies now, the 9 other bodies in Kundalini Yoga, there's 3 that have to do with the mind. The first is called the negative mind. And this is that part of our mental body that analyzes things. We need our negative mind to make choices and not to get pulled into scams or by that swampland in Florida. So the negative mind can be critical, but it also assesses dangers inherent in any given situation. It tends to be really giving us critical assessment and also allows us to be obeying the call of our higher consciousness by not weakening our mind. Then there is the positive mind, which accesses and assesses the benefits, the opportunities, and the positive good inherent in any situation or person. It allows us to see the silver lining in a situation and gives us good humor and confidence when moving through life. However, we don't want it too positive because we can be a little bit naive and too happy-go-lucky that we don't see problems or situations that could go astray. A strong, balanced, positive mind allows us to grab opportunities when they come our way with a balanced view of the positive and negatives. The third mind or fourth body is called the neutral mind. So the neutral mind is a place where we want to come to equanimity. Once we have assessed dangers and benefits inherent with a situation or with people, the neutral mind will then make the decision. So it basically is that mind that balances the pros and cons of a situation and then comes from the equanimity of taking action. So the fifth body in Kundalini Yoga is the soul body. This is our starting and ending point. The soul body inhabits the physical body. And when we have a strong soul body, we are connected to our source, our infinite creative power. We're strong, we are creative, we let go of the ego, and we tap into the humility and are able to bring connection to our soul and our source and follow our dharma. That's 5 of the 10 bodies. The 6th body now is something called the arc line. And so now we're getting into the energy bodies. The arc line is our halo. You know, those pictures you see of saints and they have the halo around, that's the arc line that has been drawn by artists throughout the ages. So the arc line extends from shoulder to shoulder in men and women, and from women have a second one that goes from nipple to nipple across the heart. So the halo or the arc line acts like a radar device in our energy field that both sends and receives information. If we have a strong arc line, we have the capacity to focus strongly. We can focus our words. Our words will provide power and effect. We can focus our attention. With a strong arc line, people can be scattered. They have hard times making a decision. So an arc line will attract good situations and allows you to receive information from the universe. And that is different from the 7th body in Kundalini Yoga called the aura. Everybody's heard of the aura. It's considered the 8th chakra, in addition to the 7 chakras that we've talked about before. But the 8th chakra is the aura. It's the field around you. It's what we put out there. And it's very protective. We want to be in a place of kindness, compassion. The aura, when it's strong, provides protection and enhances our kindness and compassion. If our aura is weak, other people can influence us easier. Then the 8th body is called the pranic body. Prana is a Sanskrit word for breath. So it's built up by breath, and it's a reservoir of our life force. So the pranic body itself consists of the 3 mental bodies I discussed, the negative, positive, and neutral minds. When the pranic body is strong, we have abundant energy, we have good health, and we are very motivated, and it can attract good things to us, such as abundance and prosperity. 8th body, that was the 8th body, the pranic body. The 9th body is the subtle body. And the subtle body is the only body besides the soul to survive physical death. It acts as the soul's record keeper. Another word for that in Sanskrit is our Akashic record, or our personal Akasha. So the subtle body is how we experience mastery. And when the subtle body is weak, we may be delusional, or we can't make up decisions and may be moody or emotional. But the mastery of the subtle body will allow you to master your life and attract things like wealth and prosperity. And the 10th body in Kundalini Yoga is the radiant body, the radiant body. The radiant body is sparkly and bright. It's that extra light and sparkle in your field. People notice it, and they may even comment on how beautiful you look or how radiant you look. That's a strong radiant body, making you very contagious to your good, courageous, and successful, and glowing. And people will definitely describe you as radiant. If the radiant body is weak, people will feel discouraged, hopeless, and defeated. So what we do in Kundalini Yoga is boost all of these 10 bodies, the physical body, the negative mind, the positive mind, the neutral mind, the soul body, the arc line, the aura, the pranic body, and the subtle body, and the radiant body to be alive and awake and attract our good. So, listeners, I'm going to give you a little sample of Kundalini Yoga through the mantras in that tradition. And you can find a place where you can be still for about 5 minutes as I teach you these chants. You can do them actually standing or seated. You can actually do them in a car too, but they do bring in an altered state. So, We have one that we do at the beginning of each class. It's called tuning in. And simply by doing this mantra, chanting it 3 times, it is going to link us to the golden chain of Kundalini Yoga gurus and practitioners. And the mantra is Ong Namo Guru Dev Namo. I will have these written out in the show notes, but the Ong is O-N-G, unlike the Om that we usually chant in Sanskrit. So Ong Namo Guru Dev Namo means I bow to the creative wisdom. I bow to the divine teacher within. So I'm going to chant it for you now 3 times. Join in. There's a certain cadence that we chant it with. And just chanting this 3 times a day can make a big difference in bringing in some good energy and enhancing your field. So here we go with Ong Namo Gurudev Namo. Inhale. Ong Namo Gurudev Namo. Ong Namo Gurudev Namo. Ong Namo Gurudev Namo. Simply chanting that mantra 3 times will raise your Kundalini energy. Tom, my engineer, just got chills from it, as did I. It raises the Kundalini. You may get those Kundalini chills or goosebumps after chanting that. I'm going to teach you a very simple mantra in the Kundalini Yoga tradition that's used as a greeting when you see other practitioners or teachers. It's Sat, S-A-T, Nam, N-A-M. Sat Nam means truth is my identity. And we use it in many of the meditations. There's different versions of Sat Nam, such as Sat Nama. But for the purposes of teaching you Sat Nam, let's say it together 11 times. In the Sanskrit, we tend to do them not in multiples of 9. In Kundalini Yoga, the mantras are done in multiples of 11, and they do come from a different tradition from Gurmukh and not Sanskrit. So let's say Satnam, Satnam, like that. And now chant this with me 11 times. Satnam, 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 Satnam. It is used in a very powerful Kriya called the Satnam Kriya. Now, this is one of my favorite Kundalini Yoga mantras. It goes like this. Waheguru, 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 Wahegyo. Again, the words will be in the show notes. And it basically translates to, well, Waheguru, that phrase is, wow, God is great. And the rest of the mantra together, Waheguru, 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 Wahegyo, means God is great, indescribably great in his infinite ultimate wisdom, his, her divine wisdom. This is a mantra of ecstasy, and we like to chant it when nothing else has worked. If you have a situation and you feel up against the wall or you feel blocked, we chant Waheguru, 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 Wahegyo. We'll chant that together 11 times. Let's chant Waheguru 11 times. Waheguru, 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 Wahegyo, 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 Waheguru, 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 Wahegio. 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 On these warm summer evenings, don't you feel like kicking back and having a nice glass of wine to unwind? But you can't stand the pesticides, fillers, and wine headaches you get from most wine. Let me tell you about Scout and Cellar clean crafted wine. Scout and Cellar is organic, clean crafted, always free of synthetic pesticides, chemical additives, and sweeteners. Try this delicious and pure wine straight from the grape to your glass at www.scoutandcellar.com/Jill Jardine. Hey folks, I just want to remind you that Cosmic Scene with Jill Jardine is also a radio show featuring some different guests. We feature the same thing as on the podcast, astrological insights, psychic hits on current and upcoming events, and discussions about the soul. But we also have live musicians. And the best part is you can call in live to 781-837-4900 for mini readings from myself or other readers who are on my show. WATD 95.9 FM broadcasts live to the South Shore of Boston and streams live to the world at 959watd.com on Monday nights at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. So tune in. Hey listeners, thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this episode on Kundalini Yoga and the Aquarian Age. Please remember to download this episode and all the others and share them. And if you would please give them a 5-star review, we would greatly appreciate it so we can continue bringing you these quality podcasts. This is Jill Jardine of Cosmic Scene signing off and sending you Kundalini yogic healing vibrations through the quantum field.